I welcome you all to MOOC's course entitled Community Engagement and Social Responsibility. I will be discussing Unit 5 today, entitled Research and Innovation in Community Engagement Related Issues. This unit has two modules. The first module is about community engaged research and ethics in community engaged research. The learning objectives of today's lecture are that after the lecture, the learner will be able to identify the problems in community, understand the need of requirement based research, understand the mechanism of disaster management by Gram Sabha, identify the challenges of community engaged research, locate the solutions to the challenges, and analyze the importance of ethics in community engaged research. The overview of the lecture would be in four quadrants, where it will revolve around research and innovation for real life problems, need of community requirement based research, case study of Gram Sabha, especially related to disaster management, and ethics in community engaged research. In the interest of learners, this module has been divided into 5 parts. Module 1, Part 1. In first part of Module 1, we will be studying about introduction of community engagement. So now let us talk about community engagement as a term, because unless we understand what exactly community engagement is, understanding of a research in community engagement would be irrelevant, because research is only done with the help of the community. So community engagement is actually the community involvement in any of the tasks so that the community needs can be fulfilled. What is a community if we define? It is similar to a living creature that have different bodies which interact on the basis of their specialized functions, activities and interests, but operate within the restricted environment, within the restricted boundaries to satisfy their community needs. Community engagement works on certain principles like fairness, justice, self-determination, focus, and many. Now, if there is a community which is existing, which work on determining their needs, definitely those needs originate from certain problems. So therefore, it is important for us to understand and to talk about what problems can a community face. The problem of low level of education, the problem of health and hygiene can be seen, risks of spread of pandemics, people presume power is a problem, social beliefs and taboos are problem, inadequate water supply and electricity supply in rural areas is a problem, and inequalities in the form of gender, inequalities in the form of income, inequalities in the form of caste can be very easily seen in the communities which are there. Unemployment is arising in a height which creates the problem of rural poverty and which leads to rural distress also. Child abuse and child neglect again is a problem which leads to the killing of the resources of the future resources of the country. Unethical practices, again, a very big problem. People are suffering from hunger, they don't have sufficient food to eat, that is again a problem. So when I say these are the problems, I had named each one of them so that we can look around in a community, as an individual in the community, that there are certain fixed or there are certain deficiencies in the community which needs to be addressed. And what is the solution to all these problems? The solution to all these problems lies in research and innovation. Now, when I say research and innovation, I mean that we need to work out on the problems so that the problems can be addressed. So, there's a word coined by Aquatic Agriculture Systems in 2011. They say the solution to all these problems is research in development. They say that in order to have a development of the community done, in order to reach the parameters of economic welfare, one needs to talk about research in these activities. So how basically community requirement based research can help? See, the point is the community's engagement in research is very important, as we have seen earlier. Unless community people are engaged, the possibility of getting the research output or the possibility of getting the solution to the problems in the community is very less. And community engagement in research is basically seen as a response to community leaders, politicians, and funders' desire for real community involvement in addressing the community issues. And whenever the research is seen as an alternative or as a one-stop solution where one can look on the processes to understand how the problems can be solved, then one needs to talk about different methodologies which can be adopted to solve those problems. So different methodologies when are to be chosen up. How do the basic idea between the different methodologies or basic elements which are included in different methodologies is people come together, they observe the problem, then they plan on that particular problem, that what can be the alternatives to that particular problem. They proceed for the action on those plans. They implement the plans and actions. Again, whatever they have implemented, they observe whatever the results are. Finally, they take the feedback from that action and again move themselves into the planning process. So, what you can understand is how a research can be taken in community engagement to make the community better. It's looking at a problem in a circular way so that the members of the community can see they have to plan, they have to act, they have to observe, and they have to again feedback the results so that they can plan or control the actions which are derived. Ultimately, whatever is the cycle of research, we'll talk about the necessity of addressing the community's priorities, because the priorities are the form of community problems. They would determine the need for culturally sensitive communications which are required. They would definitely talk about the main area where the problem is to be addressed. So, in this part, we studied about introduction of community engagement. In the next part, we will study about strategies of community engagement research. One of them is community based participatory research. Thank you.